She's working on a plastic.
It looks so different.
Yes, indeed. I've been growing my hair out.
Was that close? No.
It's a thing. It's a phase.
Look a little like oh.
He was joking.
Ready for this? You see that little ledge right there?
Dang it!
That was like a
Okay, guys, find a seat. Find a seat. You got the TV working?
Yeah, I was just gonna break.
Okay. What?
Guys, I will never do Simon Says again. Fine.
Okay, everyone. So,
I liked it.
Deanna is going to be teaching for us tonight. She's going to be teaching about Luke 7. Big shocker surprise there. As we go through the book of Luke, I'm going to pray for her really quick before we start, and then she's going to take it away. Okay? So, everyone, bow your eyes and close your heads. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time and for the preparation that Deanna has put into her message. Lord, please help us to keep our minds open to what we can learn from Deanna and learn from Luke 7. Lord, help us to remember that it is, we never have all of the knowledge that we can get, especially the knowledge and wisdom from the Bible. No matter how many times we hear any of these stories in the Gospels, they can hold new and good meaning because you choose to speak through them, and you choose to speak through different people like Deanna as she has studied and has sought after what you have to say to all of us. Help us to have attentive ears as we listen. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, so we are going through Luke 7, and there's actually a lot of stories in Luke 7, but thank God Jake says I don't have to cover them all. So I'm actually going to end up covering the first section of Luke 7, and so, but before we jump into that, I want to tell you a little story. So, my husband, for those who don't know, most of you do, me and my husband got married very, very young. We were in high school. My husband was 17 years old, and I was 18 years old. And as soon as he turned 18, he actually spent boot camp, his 18th birthday in boot camp in Texas, and so that's a lot of fun for him. But so he graduated, and the very first flight I ever got on was to see him graduate boot camp. And so I was really scared and nervous, and I actually do still struggle with really low blood pressure. And so our plane actually kind of went, ooh, and then I was like, dink. And I wake up to the stewardess slapping my cheek and ice on my forehead, and they're trying to get me to wake up. So just to throw that, my first experience flying was not the greatest. I was very scared. So my husband just graduated from boot camp, and then we moved to Biloxi, Mississippi, and his tech school was the second longest in the Air Force. So it's extremely rare for a spouse to live with their spouse when they're going through tech school. And so because his tech school was almost a complete year long, which is really rare, I guess, I got to go with him. There's one other that's a little bit longer, but I don't know, what it is. But eventually, which is really funny, he ended up going from that, and then by the time we moved to Japan down the road, they changed him to intelligence, which was even more education. But to bring it back, we had our first duty station in on an island of Tresera, which is in a group of islands called the Azores, which is, I'll let you guess in a minute where it's from, what country it belongs to. But so Philip graduated from Mississippi, and he got stationed in the Azores, and I didn't get to go with him for another month. So our very first wedding anniversary, I was in California, and he was in the Azores. So there's Mississippi. I don't know if you guys can see it, like right here. Our stuff got put on a boat and was heading all the way to this little dot in the ocean. So for a while there, we don't have any supplies, and for a month, the military says, your wife is not coming yet. We need you to get to this base, and once you're there, then your wife will come. So because it was a really funny hiccup when he went to our first duty station, because there was a month where I wasn't like put on the plane. So right now he's in the Azores. I'm in California, so when I fly from California to Maryland, from Maryland, I'm on my way here. Do you guys know what country the Azores are in? Go ahead.
I have 3 guesses.
Okay, I'll give you one.
Okay. Morocco.
No.
Oh, that's why.
The United States.
No.
Oh. Portugal?
Portugal. We lived in the Azores, and here's Portugal, way over here, right? And there's that teeny dot in the middle of nowhere, okay? Very exciting.
It's like swollen.
So I'm flying over here, and okay, so you saw that group of islands? That dot, then there's these group of islands, where that dot was. And you see that one? That's where I lived. This teeny, teeny, tiny island. The island is only 11 by 18 miles. It's very small. Living here was really hard, but I'll get into that in a second. So here I am, I'm flying to this little dot in the middle of the ocean, and I must have looked terrified. I must have looked like I was gonna cry because I felt like it, I was scared. I had never left California except for his boot camp, and here I am going to another country and jumping on different planes, and I've never flown alone, so I was a hot mess. And I actually was on a cargo plane. My cargo plane was not this nice. Right in the nose. Okay, so my cargo plane probably only had about 2 rows, and there was like a wall, so you're like staring at a wall all the way, and it was all the cargo and all the supplies for the island. So there's 2 rows, I'm there, there's not very many of us, there's probably about 10 of us on this plane. It's very bouncy, very straight, very loud on a cargo plane. You can't even hear somebody talking really unless they're right next to you. So here I am, terrified, scared. There's this wonderful woman, her name is Judy. Me and Judy are still friends to this day. She sat next to me, very, very sweet, asking me my name, who are you, what does your husband do? I'm telling him all this stuff, her all this stuff. Super, 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 super sweet. I'm becoming friends with her. She gives me a weird number, and she's like, this number looks weird. It's you're on the base, so when you get there, you can call me, because it doesn't have enough digits, it's kind of weird. So I'm like, cool, like I made a friend. I don't know what happened between her looking like this next to me on the plane and us landing, but when we're getting ready to land, I just want to throw this out there. You don't see the flight line until you're on it, because the island is so tiny, you look like you're gonna die. You look like you're crashing into the ocean. I was literally praying to Jesus and going, Lord, I'm sorry for my sins. I'm right with you. I thought I was gonna die for reals. So I get off the plane, and there's Phil. I'm like, oh, thank God, I know who he is. Oh, babe, you know. And he's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, you see that lady over there? And I'm like, oh, Judy? Judy? Excuse me? This is Judy. Judy is a 3-star general of the Air Force. I didn't know Judy. I didn't even know what a general was, okay? So Judy's super sweet, super amazing. It feels like, you called her Judy? I'm like, yeah, she said something about, like, she's an officer, I don't know. And he's like, oh my gosh, woman. Like, she is so important. She's in charge of all of, like, the European division. Okay, so I'm best friends with the general, and he's freaking out. It's really great. So, just for those who are not familiar with the military, I wanted to show you some ranks. Okay, so when my husband graduated boot camp, he actually graduated with a stripe, which is rare because usually you don't have any stripes, but he actually was an Eagle Scout. So he went through all the Boy Scout stuff, got his Eagle Scout. So when he graduated, he got this little 1 stripe, which was really cool for us. I'm not 100% sure because his tech school was so long. I wasn't sure if he was an airman first class or not by the time we got to Portugal, but he was pretty close. Okay, here's Judy. So these are all the ranks. You go all the way up. That's still enlisted. So even this guy outranks this guy. Okay, so then this, it goes all the way up. The only person who outranks my friend Judy is a 4-star general, which there aren't that many, and then the 5-star only comes around during like wartime, if I'm correct. I think so. So anyways, Judy's pretty cool, and I didn't know any better, and she's really sweet. And she was so humble and so kind, and just looked at this kid and was like, girl, you're a hot mess, I'm gonna be your friend. And so she was just so great. This is Portugal. I'm from sunny Southern California where we don't even get rain half the time. It rained here all the time. And you think it's windy here? I am not joking. It is so windy that the kids get off the bus, they have two adults walk them into the school because they will blow.
That's awesome.
Like they fall. I had a wiener dog and he rolled when he go potty. I'm not joking. Okay, so this is one of the main parts of the main city of Ontracera. There's one other behind that hill, and that's it. There's no fast food. There's nothing. There's nothing. I gotta tell you this story really quick because it's so funny. So my husband's a fisherman. He's obsessed with fishing. He is right. He was always at the freaking bay trying to fish, whatever. Okay, so there's this cute little boy, and he came up one day. He must have been like 7 or 8. So my husband accidentally hooked an octopus. And he's like, oh, crud, whatever. So he takes it off, and this little boy's like saying something in Portuguese. Phil spoke, he might still speak fluent Portuguese. He's like, oh, the little boy wants my octopus. I didn't give it to him. Phil thought he was going to eat it. The kid takes it and goes, whack! Slams it, kills it. We're like, okay, well, I guess it has to die so you can eat it. No, that little boy chopped that sucker up right in front of us and sold it to all the other fishermen. It was insane. I was like, oh my gosh, this little kid. So anyway, so Phil's like, what the heck? So,
He's a
it's just a
businessman.
little funny story that we were like, dang, this kid is making a dollar. This is the main town. Actually, most of the, I don't think you can see it, maybe in that blue house, most of the time, the roofs are flat, almost like biblical, and you would like hang out there. So, barbecues, people usually live, these roofs aren't like the norm, but most of them are flat like that. There's nothing here, like I said, it's all like cows, grass, water, there's the main city, and then further down is the base, but that's it, there's nothing there. The only thing that's really cool there is paintball, because it's so wooded and crazy. There's me, and then Phil is, the guy has his paintball gun right above Phil's head in the back. You can see him right there, kind of blurry. So we loved doing paintball here, but you're probably wondering, why the heck are they on this little island? Why is a 3-star general and a teeny little island of the Azores? Does this make any sense to anyone? I want you to pay attention to the next picture I'm going to show you. Look at the wall. Here's me and Phil. We are 19 years old. Actually, I think I just turned 20. See the wall? Notice the wall. Hey, don't be making fun of us.
Phil just looks so like
Do you see the
smug.
wall?
Oh.
This is the same wall. Me and Phil stood right here. So, on March 16th, 2003, this was the place where we staged the war on Iraq. So the place I was actually stationed we were told it was a gas station basically, but it was really it is a gas station, but kind of a middle place where the leaders of the world would come and meet. And it was such a low profile place that they would come. What happened was they would lock the base down, and they would actually give some tickets, so some people could see the president getting off Air Force One, right? Is that going blank right here? What's called?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you. I'm like, is it? So yeah, we eventually figured out why we were there and why Judy was there. And here's just another picture of Judy. She's super sweet. She looks just like everybody's mom, right? Like she's just so darn cute. And then she like puts on this outfit. I'm like, what? What's happening? She's just amazing. We became really good friends. She's actually Catholic, but when we talked about Jesus, we were all on the same page, and she's great mentor. She taught me about marriage and kids and life, and she told me not to join the military, actually. She's like, if you want to have a family, not the best choice. So she actually kept me from actually enlisting myself. So when I lived in the Azores, I actually worked for the MSS Squadron, and I was the family support director there. Big surprise, family again, right? The Lord's like, okay, I'm gonna put you over here. So what my job was is, once you get onto the island, I would check out pots and pans and blankets and sheets and toys and clothes, because all of our stuff is on a boat and takes like a month or longer to get to you. So that was my job. I would help new families and new moms and dads and stuff just kind of plug in. Now, becoming friends with Judy made things interesting for me, because people were scared of me too, because of her authority. right? You're friends with Judy Fetter. Oh my gosh. I'm like, no, look, she's like a human. Like, but it didn't matter. We used to eat lunch once a month together, sometimes more, but she's a very busy woman. And people would salute. There were places that I could go that my husband was not allowed to go because I was with her and a civilian. She would never be allowed to be friends with my husband because of the rank situation. I got away with it because I was a civilian. So it was just incredible. Like Judy could say something and it happened. It didn't matter. She didn't have to go and, like if she wanted my husband to do something, she told her buddy and her buddy would make sure that happened. So there was never ever any direct contact. She was just, people are terrified of her. She is a great lady, but like the authority that she had, she can ruin your life in like a heartbeat. She also had the power to do some major things, right? I mean, she's a 3-star general. It's pretty crazy. I remember this one time my boss was giving me a hard time and she's like, you're not going to lunch, you need to work, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just tell Judy. And she's like, Judy? I'm like, Judy Fetter? And then she's like, oh no, you go to lunch, you got to lunch, all right? I'm like, well, I'm gonna use this one because I'm hungry. But usually people knew, it became known that, anybody know that I'm friends with Teresa Scholl, right? It was like that, like everybody knew we were friends and people were scared of me because of her. Now you're probably wondering, why is Deanna telling me all this stuff about Judy Fetter and her trip to the Azores. By the way, I lived there for 2 years. It's because we are going to talk about the centurion. So I was hoping, because those who don't know, I am dyslexic, and so reading out loud is a struggle for me. So if I could have someone read Luke 7, all the 1 through 10, that would be really helpful for me.
Thank Jonas.
Yeah, Jonah,
Unless you want me
now.
to.
Read it.
I need to find it.
It's okay, it's okay.
I'm also not the greatest reader.
Now, when he concluded,
No, go for it.
you sure?
Yeah, dude, go for it.
Now, when he concluded all his sayings in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. And a certain centurion's servant, who was dear to him, was sick and ready to die. So when he heard about Jesus, he sent elders of the Jews to him, pleading with him to come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they begged him earnestly, saying that the one for whom he should do this was deserving, for he loves our nation and he has built a synagogue. Then Jesus went with them, and when he was not far from the house, the centurion sent his friends and saying to him, Lord, do not trouble yourself, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof. Therefore, I do not even think myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I also am a man placed under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to one, go, and he goes. To another, come, and he comes. And to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him and turned around and said to the crowd that followed him, I say to you, I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. And those who were sent, returning to the house, found the servant well who had been sent.
Thank you. All right, so now I kind of want to break it down. So in verse 4, I love this part where he says, when they came to Jesus, they pleaded earnestly with him. This man deserves. So I just love how, like, the centurion has sent the people that he's trying to, like, plead for him. Like, he is deserving. He is worthy. But then he drops down, right, onto verse into 6. He says, I don't deserve for you to come underneath my roof. I just think that's really, really powerful. And the reason is because this man is an officer. I don't know if you've ever had experience with military officers, but they aren't the humblest humans most of the time. And so I, just probably having my military background with my family and my husband, that I was like, that's pretty intense for him to be so humble to put his servant above him in the first place, let alone plead for him. So I thought that was really cool. He must have, I almost wonder if he must have like been like almost a secret believer too, because he talks about how he felt like his servant helped build the synagogues and stuff. So I'm like, I wonder if, I mean, I don't know if Jake knows or anybody else knows if there was some sort of like, was a believer but was secretly a believer. There's this part too I wanted to point out in on verse 3. It talks about the centurion sending some of the elders or his people over. In Matthew, it actually talks about the Roman centurion visiting him himself. Now, I don't want you guys to think there's a contradiction, but this would be something like, do you guys know what a power of attorney is? I know it's like an adult thing. So what it is, it's like a piece of paper, and me and my husband have these pieces of paper, and that piece of paper makes me Philip Gibson. It's in my safe right now. I could go and sign him up for the military. I could do anything, take out a loan in his name. I could do anything. So it was almost kind of like that, like a power of attorney. These people were speaking for him as if they were him. So I just wanted to clear that up because I was like, wait a second, it says it this way in Matthew, but it says it this way in Luke. Back down. This part is really, really powerful where it says, we'll jump in on verse 7. This is why I did not consider myself worthy to come to you, but say the word and my servant will be healed. Can you imagine just believing God so much or somebody so much that they just say something and you just believe it? He doesn't have to come to your house. Doesn't have to do anything. Doesn't have to speak directly even to the servant or put his hands upon him. Just saying that. To me, that's insane. For I myself are a man under authority with soldiers under me. I tell this one to go and he goes, and that one to come and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. How often do we even think of God in that kind of authority? Do you guys ever think what he says, just the word can just make it happen? We kind of take it for granted, I think, right? Even creation, God spoke life and light and everything into the world. But to be I feel like to be an officer in the military, to be like this carpenter or stonemason or whatever Jesus really was, is above me. Don't even come to my house. Don't even touch me. Don't walk. I'm not worthy. That is so powerful and wonderful and beautiful. And I was so excited that Jake let me pick this because the centurion kind of reminded me of Judy in a way. She was just humble and sweet and just loved on some little enlisted guy's wife, right? She didn't have to do that. But you know what I noticed about Judy is she did love Jesus. She did love God, and she was very humble. God calls us all to be faithful over and over in the Bible, right? Even that, just to have a little bit, even a little as a mustard seed. I think if we humble ourselves and are faithful, I think God would show us some pretty miraculous things in life too, but it takes a lot of faith, right? Before I close, does anybody have any questions for me just about the Azores or Portugal or anything, or being friends with a 3-star general?
Was there a toilet on the airplane?
There was, but it had that blue stuff in it. Was yours not?
A lot of cargo planes have buckets with the curtains.
Oh, it did have a curtain, but there was a toilet. Yes.
I was disappointed you didn't get the full card.
So back on. Do you feel like Phil was ever jealous that you had this relationship with Judy and he didn't even really get to talk to her?
I think he thought he was pretty cool that his wife was talking to her.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna tell my wife, but I can't do anything, right? He honestly didn't use it, but people were like, "Why is your wife with Judy or with General Better?" Sorry, I call her Judy. Yeah, I don't think so. My husband's not very jealous, but I think he was almost like a power trip for himself a little bit. To
Right.
be fair.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When your boss told you to stay at work and you working out for the
Yeah.
how did you and what reaction did he respond when he knew it was?
Well, it was a woman, but she was pretty shocked because she's all of our bosses, right? So you don't want to take off the big boss of the entire island. So yeah, I kind of used that situation. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you meet the president?
I did not meet the president.
So you didn't get it.
Dang it.
I did not get to it.
I think your daughter.
Huh?
Your daughter has a question.
Yes, daughter. Sorry.
Was the bull the bull running there, or was that?
Oh yeah, they have the bull running there. There's literally a video. a bird pooping in my eye
It was funny.
while I'm on a roof watching a bull. And you hear me screaming, and he's like, ah! The camera's shaking, but he's still looking at the bulls. I'm like,
That means that's more exciting.
You said that you had to like get up on the roofs or like.
yeah, you have to get on the roofs or the bulls will like just jump over the fences are like this tall, and the bulls just like boop. Yeah, and then people like stab them or tick them off, and I'm like, you're all crazy. And then you just see all the men. No women, just saying, no women, all men running. That's the only thing to do, but I would say for the snacks, really. Not the bird poop in the eye. No. All right, let me close in prayer, and then we're going to break up and have small groups, and we'll answer some questions. Dear Lord, give us great faith like the centurion. May we believe in your power and always be humble as we approach you. Where we are weak, make us strong. May you and your will be the ultimate authority in our lives. Lord, help us to keep our eyes on you and not the world. Lord, if there's places in our lives where we need to be humbled, let us be humble, Lord, for you are our great authority. Lord, may we take the story of the centurion and apply it to our lives. We ask these things in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Alright guys, trash goes in the trash can, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Oh, these are the questions, but I don't know why it's like 11, 12.
That joke is always funny.
It's something that's happening.
Thank you.
Mrs. Gibson.
No, it's fine. No, it's
Alright, boys. Let's roll downstairs.